You know him from The Daily Show. You know him from his weekly sets on YouTube. Please make a bunch of noise right now for my friend Josh Johnson!
I think that the gift that someone gives you says a lot about who they think you are. I was given a gift by a friend, and I could tell that he hadn't given gifts to people who weren't like in his immediate family or people he was dating, you know? Because there are some people, they're very good at giving gifts. They have a real talent. It's an impeccable, like uncanny way that they can just tell what you need or what you'd really enjoy, and they get you that exact thing without you even having to say it. And then there are men. And so my buddy got me a gift. Usually when you give someone a gift, they're like family or it's a special occasion. You know you're gonna have to get them a gift, right? It's rare, especially as you get older, to make a friend and become close enough that you need to get them a gift. That's like a barrier that some people just don't. Like if you're a coworker and y'all have been hanging out outside of work and everything, and then Christmas comes around, you're like, you know what? Let me get my coworker, let me get my buddy a Christmas gift. You don't have to. They may not be expecting it, but someone has to like make that jump first. And my friend got me a gift, and you could tell I was the first person outside of like family or a girlfriend that he had to get a gift for, because he got me socks. And when I say socks, understand, I mean a pair. Not like a bunch of socks, not a bunch of different crazies. He got me socks, and I don't know what that says about me. I don't know what that says he thinks about, because I've never been around him barefoot. I've never given the indication that socks is what I'm missing. I've never been in sandals around him. I've never had ashy feet. He's never seen my toenails. There's no reason socks I'd look covered for, you know. And so he got me these socks, and if you're gonna give somebody, as a gift, if you're gonna give somebody socks, just hand them to them. This man put the socks in a bag that was nicer than the socks. The bag was very nice. I thought he got me a watch or something. The bag looked designer. And it had too much tissue paper in it. You could tell he had never got anybody else a gift before, because the level of tissue paper was clearly all the tissue paper that came when he bought tissue paper. It was every sheet of tissue paper was open and then crinkled in the back. It took me a magician's amount of time to pull all the tissue paper out of this bag. And I was pulling so much tissue paper out, I thought he got me nothing. That would have been better and funny. That would have been dope if at the end I pull out tissue paper and he's like, ah, you know what I mean? Instead, I pull out the last piece of tissue paper, and at the bottom, flat, is socks. And I'm not, look, any gift, any action like that, any act of love like that, I genuinely appreciate. And so I said thank you instead of why. I could have said why. I was thinking why. But I said thank you, right? And inspected the socks a little bit, and there was something amiss, because okay. It was two socks. But one sock had an R on it. And one sock had an L on it. And these, for the final time, weren't novelty socks. They weren't like a cool designer thing. The R and the L looked written. So you are indicating I need a ton of help. I don't know what I have done or said around this man to be given a sock with an R on it and a sock with an L on it, because when they make socks, they leave it up to you. When all these sock makers make socks, they're like, you know what? I bet he gonna figure it out. You know, I don't even think you could do it wrong unless you put 2 on 1. He gave me a sock with an R and a sock with an L, and had the absolute audacity to smile at me and nod, wait for his thank you like a little kid. It's wedding season, and I've been to a ton of weddings. In my life, I've been to a lot of weddings. A lot of people that I know love people. And I will say, outside, the only like good weddings I've been to are my girlfriend's friends and some of my family. Anytime it's my friend getting married, it is a disaster in one way or another. Weddings already make me nervous. Weddings make me very, very nervous sometimes because I want everything to go well for them. You know, I get nervous for the bride and the groom. Not even that I think that they're gonna mess up, they're gonna do anything. I just want it to be, you spend so much money on a day like this. You want it to be perfect, you know? And it's 2 people that love each other, that made a moment for everyone that they love to be there together. I want it to go perfect for them. And I've been to plenty of beautiful weddings. Truly amazing weddings. But there are a few aspects of every wedding where things could go wrong. You know, this is where you're starting to spin some plates, make sure everything's on. The ceremony, right? A lot of people do the ceremony different by culture, sometimes just different by personality. So there's a lot of different things in there that you have to be on top of. Do you have a wedding planner? Do you not have a wedding planner? Whatever it is, there's so many details, you know? Vows. There was okay. I think it's beautiful when people write their own vows. I do. I think it's very sweet because it's very easy to go up there, you know, and just do what you're quote unquote supposed to do. I'm not saying there's any right or wrong way to do it, but people clearly put some specific thought into what they wanted to say. And I think that for them, that's amazing, you know, because every relationship is different. Some people need to say some extra stuff on top of the baseline stuff. Just to make sure, okay, but in front of everybody. God. And I've been to plenty of weddings where people write their own vows, and it shows the relationship that they've built over the time that they were together, engaged, everything. And it shows what's important to them specifically in this relationship. But there was one wedding where they wrote their own vows, and she went first, and they were beautiful. They were commitments that she was making in front of everyone to him, things that she was going to do because she knew how important they were to him, and ways that she would nurture him and make him feel like the person that he felt that day, right? We're going to keep this moment forever. And he also had some beautiful, beautiful vows, commitments that he was making to her, that he wanted her to understand he would keep until the day that he died. The only problem is he wrapped them. This man wrapped the vows and didn't tell anybody he was gonna do it. This man wrapped the vows, and even the pastor was like, I don't rap at all, but I've never rapped in a way that made someone lean away from me. Also, just throwing this out there, if you're gonna rap at all, like if you're gonna rap, like, cause there was no beat. He just went full 8 Mile last verse with it. And if you're gonna go a cappella, just start rapping. This man kicked it off with a Dude, if your vows start with there's just you're in the most singular relationship of human history. Like, and it wasn't just like, it was never start rapping like you about to double dutch. This man over here. You could tell she wanted to be like, what's happening? She is probably watching him just praying it's a stroke. Like, that's... A stroke would at least mean everybody gonna feel bad for you. We can come back later, do this whole thing again. This man over here... double either do it or don't. This man rapped his vows, and they were a couple pages long. They went on for a while, and when he got done, the pastor was like, so... do you take... that... And she said no. And to be clear, she didn't just flat out hit him with a no. She went, which is a reasonable response. But I was split on it, because it's like, you're getting married, and if you're gonna marry someone, You should know whether they're gonna impromptu rap or not. Like, that feels like a very particular trait. If that went over your head, y'all have problems as a couple that need to be worked out that are beyond the hip hop. Cause it's like that. It was tough. It was tough. Cause on one hand, I was like, I get it. And on the other, I was like, all right, but like, once you're engaged, I feel like the ick's gotta go out of the window. Do you know what I mean? Like, love is supposed to go over ick. When you are with the person and you declare you're gonna be with the person for the rest of your life, you do take on their embarrassment. Like, think about it. Like, you'll be married one day being like, yeah, that over there embarrassing me, that's who till we die, I'm gonna be embarrassed. That's what I signed up for. Well, the ceremonies are also short. Like, as much of the wedding day is about the couple, the actual ceremony is usually not that long. You know? And I've been to full-on, like, mass Catholic weddings where even the priest was like, okay. But there's just so many different things that could go off the rails, you know? There's that moment in a lot of weddings, especially when you do the traditional vows, traditional reading and everything, where they say, if anyone has cause, if anyone, it's different wording in different places, but if anyone knows why these two should not be wed, speak now or forever hold your peace. And most weddings I've been to, everybody at least look. I'm not saying they look because they don't believe in the couple. I think they look to see if there's drama is about to occur. You don't want somebody to stand up and then you got to turn around all late and stuff. You know, you just give it a quick little, just dignified, sophisticated, quick little I, okay, all right. You don't turn all the way around. A lot of weddings I've been to, people look. And there's also the officiant, you know, who marries the couple. A lot of times it's a friend, sometimes it's like especially if it's like a religious ceremony, it's your pastor, your priest, maybe someone whose church you've gone to for a long time. And that's very important to the couples that it's important to. I want this person to marry us, you know, and every once in a while, you can tell. I've been to a wedding or two. I went to a lot of weddings in my early 20s when a bunch of my friends were getting married. I was living in Chicago and stuff. And I would go to the wedding thinking like, wow, I'm over here by myself. They've already got life figured out. They picked their life partner already. We're like 22. This is wild, you know? And I remember one time I got off work. I got the one day off work, so I had to miss the rehearsal dinner. And so I took a bus the next day, and being like 20 something, I didn't think it through. And so I just was like, let me go ahead. I'm gonna barely make it to the wedding as is. Let me go ahead and be dressed on the bus. And so I get on the bus, and the bus's air conditioner is broken. And so I sweat for 3 hours to the wedding. But I lucked out because I get to the wedding, and it turns out at the rehearsal dinner, everybody got food poisoning. So I look about as bad as anybody else. We're all sweating. And the pastor officiating the wedding clearly was like the worst off, you know. Everybody clearly had like a little bit of an upset stomach, and like, you know, sweat some of it out and everything. Some people looked a little green and stuff. But the pastor was fighting to get through this ceremony, and they want a ceremony at a church, and so he has to do a whole sermon that's attached to like getting them to the vows, right? And you can tell he's losing it because there's a point where he's sweating, and he's not a lot of preachers sweat, but they sweat after they preached. This man was sweating from the start, and he started clearly getting delirious because he was quoting Bible verses that are not in there. He's over here talking about like the 5th book of Corinthians, and I'm like, nah, dog. I think you seeing double. I think you seeing extra Roman numerals in that Bible. You need to sit down and deliver some of this sermon. That every once in a while you could tell he was like feeling himself like he was breaking it for a second, and he'd be like, because God, and then anytime he tried to get like real preacher with it, you could tell he was like, uh-oh. There's just so many things, even the ceremony, figuring out how to get people from the ceremony to the reception is sometimes a battle, especially if they're not in the same place. You know, I've been to a lot of beautiful weddings where they were in the same location. You just got to walk to like the other part of the building or right outside or wherever, and it all works. If you got to get people from one location to another, it can be treacherous. People can be lost. I don't drink, so I don't really deal with this particular aspect. I don't know in a wedding when people are supposed to get drunk. I just know they start getting drunk right after I do, and some of it I'm like, when did you drink? How? We just sat down to eat. How? And there's the dancing. The dance, one of my favorite things. Okay, I've been invited to a lot of my white friends' weddings, and what I love, one of my favorite things in the world is the moment that you can tell they're about to break it down. The absolute moment that they have locked in, and I don't know if it's the liquor, the song, I don't know what it is, but they're like, I don't care who's looking, I don't care who I came here with, I'm about to express myself. Everywhere. And what I love about it is a thing that I noticed once again, in my 20s, going to some of my friends' weddings from back in Louisiana and stuff, there's a face. There's a face that a white dude makes right before he breaks it down. And I would be lying if I said it's not the identical face a white dude has before he says the most racist thing you've ever heard. And they are so exactly the same. It's that full upside down smile, that full like. This is the face that a white dude makes before he Dougies is the same face that was outside of every school that was getting integrated, all right? This is a face like no other. You know there is so much joy. When a white man makes this face, he's either about to do the worst thing possible or the best thing he's ever done. I am telling you, it is one of the most spectacular things you could ever watch, because it is coming from a place so pure. I don't know how many drinks it takes. Some people, it doesn't take a drink at all. Some people, that's just who that comes out. You know? Then you have the reception, you have the speeches. And the speeches can be tricky. Most weddings, best man gives a speech, maid of honor gives a speech, maybe the parents, you know, some family, he gives a speech. And I don't know, if you know you're gonna give a speech, because this is hard. Like a wedding speech is intimidating because it's like everything wrapped into one. Everything that scares people about public speaking wrapped into one thing. You have to be kind of fun, you have to be heartfelt, you have to be moving, you have to like really make people remember the speech, at least in your head. You gotta do all this in like a matter of a couple minutes because you don't want it to be too long, you know, and you don't want to bust out crying and not be able to continue, because then people will be like, what's going on? And so it's tough. I still remember, okay, it was a wedding where the best man, you know, got a little drunk, so already the speech is gonna tilt. It's not gonna be its best. And he used the best man speech to pretty much profess his love for the groom, right? And it's like, bruh, you are exactly one ceremony late. When they ask if anyone has any reason that these two should not be wed, it was kind of in case this happens. It was speak now or forever don't. Dude, stand up there, so me and Chet are boys. I mean, we boys. We always been boys. Chet's boys. And then Alyssa came. You know, Alyssa came along and ruined it. Oh, I've just been thinking about a lot of wedding stuff. I was reading the news and I saw Jeff Bezos got married to, I know. He's not here. But like, this is the thing. He got married in Venice, and it was supposed to be, I believe, at least at the city center until everyone protested, and then they had to move it because, you know, the people in Venice were like, why would we let you do this in our face? Like, if you do this, it will be in the water. And the people from Venice had a point. They were furious because they were like, first of all, the climate change, because they take climate change more seriously than some people believe. And they were like, they're flying here in the private jets and everything. Like, the environment, what are we gonna do? And then what is he leaving us with? You know, he's talking about, oh, I'm gonna spend so much money here. It's like, you don't even pay. They made a banner that said, if you can afford to rent Venice, you can afford to pay more taxes, right? And even more so than the sentiment of like the big banner was just that they used a really bad picture of him. And I don't know, I'm speaking as a sensitive person. If you got a bad enough picture of me, you really don't need to say anything else. Like, that's, you got me. You got me good. No, I'm gonna think about it all day. Because apparently he spent $50 million on the wedding. $50 million. How do you even get to 50 for a wedding? 3 days, 50 million. You gotta leave something for the divorce. You spent $50 million knowing you cheat. Oh, that's crazy. No, just say it. Thought you were a businessman. And I think a lot of people aren't even really upset about the wedding so much. There's obviously people that are annoyed by the tourism aspect. There are people who live in Venice. They're like, look, it's ruining our cities. Tourism is nice, it's good to make some money, but the way that people come here and what they turn our city into, it's like we're not a prop. You know, we're not a backdrop. We're real people that live here that get inconvenienced by the things that people do when they try to make our entire city about them. You know? And so they protested, and those protests at least worked to the degree that they weren't able to put on the wedding that they initially wanted to, which has made me really happy. I usually want everything to go well at a wedding when it comes to people that I know, maybe don't even know well, but there's just so much pressure that goes into it. I want that for them, and I've never wanted less of that for anyone than Jeff Bezos. Like, just the way that Jeff moves, I was just waiting. I just want so many things to go wrong. Just little things. They had to get on boats to get to other boats. They had to get on a little boat to get to the yacht. I'm like, just fall through the gap. Like, just... That would be nice if he fell through the gap and he's all... You know, and then pull him out of the water by his head so it's slippery, so it takes a while. You know what I mean? No, that would be fire, you know? Or if, like, the DJ played REM, you know? I just wanted one speech to just, like, ruin it, you know what I mean? Like, one speech to be like, as everybody, hey, it's me and Jeff are boys. Me and Jeff are boys, we've always been boys, you know what I'm saying? It's like, and then Lauren came and ruined it. You know what I mean? Like, you know, me and Jeff killed somebody together. Like, that's... They'll never find the body, dog. There's just so many things that can go wrong. I hope something did. No. I know it's not nice, but neither is he. You know, it's like at a certain point, you know, you look at Jeff Bezos as this former CEO of Amazon, and you'll get people who are like, he's not even the CEO anymore. Why is everybody so upset? It's like he's still the executive chairman, and the way that Amazon was run while he was a CEO, it's just a continuation of that thing. You know what I mean? It's still working people to the bone and then chucking them out as soon as you have a robot or an AI that can take their place while pretending that that's better for all of us. And then the environmental, pledges that they make, kind of like skirting around them or dropping them entirely. It's just, it's one of those things where if nothing else, if we don't have anything else but a voice to protest him having a good day, then I think as many people as possible should do that. You know what I mean? Like, it's... And I've just never seen that before. I mean, I've known people who got married and knew that their in-laws didn't like them. I've never seen a protest. they say, speak now or forever hold your peace. And there's a whole group outside like, I have something to say. If anyone knows why these two should not be wed, speak that. I do. And I don't know. I mean, I look at Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez. I don't know them as people, and I don't know what their relationship is like. But I hope it's fraught. Like, I hope that it's. No, I hope that they argue a lot. And that when they argue, it gives Bezos a headache that is at least equal to like an Amazon worker who's had a box fall on their head. You know what I mean? Like, if there's just any source of balance in the universe, they will be as much of a headache to each other as they are an impact on the world. And I know that probably won't happen, but we can dream. Yeah, I mean, like, I do wonder what their vows were like, genuinely. It's like, I promise to always have money. I don't know. Second wedding, too. You know, his first wife, Mackenzie, definitely, at least in the public sphere, like, won the divorce because people like her. Do you know what I mean? Like, she became a billion when her and Jeff split. She was like a billion, and then he was number one, and then he went to like 3, and then I think she was like 2. I don't know. I don't think that you are a bad person if you're a billionaire. Just probably, just more than likely, because the only ethical way to become a billionaire seems to be to divorce one. There was one time, once again, early 20s, and a bunch of my friends were getting married, and I had to go to 3 weddings in about 5 days. Yeah, and so luckily I could afford to take a train and then fly, take a train, everything, and I don't know. I was young, so I wasn't doing the best planning at all. And sure enough, it comes time for me to head out, and I am about to be late. I stuff everything into a suitcase, and I head there. I got one wedding suit because these friends don't know each other, so they're not gonna know. You know what I mean? I'm gonna show up looking sharp to each one. They're like, Josh, you really did? I'm like, yeah, I did. Go to the first wedding, phenomenal. It's very sweet. It's like intimate ceremony and everything. And next day, I get there early. Second wedding, beautiful, phenomenal, much bigger, right? And then I get down to the third wedding, and I realize that in my haste, not preparing, I didn't really pack well. I have my one suit. I've got some shirts that I can wear and everything. I'm trying to figure out a place to do laundry, and there's nowhere nearby. And my suit is clean because I'm not a dancer. So I haven't sweated out. You know what I mean? It's been a lot of nice to meet you. Yes. Take off the jacket immediately, make sure that doesn't get musty, change the dress shirt underneath, and sure enough, third wedding. The clothes I had were the last clothes. That literally the suit was the last clean thing that I had left. So I was like, all right, I'm coming in clutch, right? And go to the wedding, beautiful ceremony. And then we get to the reception, some speeches, very sweet. Only a little bit like, I just love you. And then it's time to dance, and I'm not really a dancer, but there was a guy, he was the uncle of the groom. He's trying to get everybody to dance because he is a true believer that it's bad luck if everybody doesn't dance at the wedding, even just a little jiggle. So he's getting people up. He's like pulling people to the dance floor. He pulls me. Now, I'm not a dancer, all right? I got a little bit of movement along the same plane. So you'll see me here, and then you'll see me here. And there might potentially be a snap in between. It will not be on beat. It'll be more emotive. But I'll be here, and I'll be here, and I'll be here, and I'll be here. And that was not enough for Uncle Willis, all right? Uncle Willis is over here. Come on, young blood, come on. This is what you gotta keep in mind when you cheer somebody on. Whenever you try to hype somebody up, be sure they can do whatever you're trying to get them to do. I can't stand when people try to act like this is the moment in the movie right now where you're gonna hit the beats you've never hit before. Come on, young bloods. I'm moving. And I don't know what to do because I'm not a dancer, and neither is he. You know, neither is he. Even him calling me young blood was like really weird. I don't know this guy at all, but he is like adamant that I can do more. And so he starts dancing with just me. And he's like, come on, get some rhythm into it, right? And I can tell he's too far gone for me to like not acquiesce because it's starting. It's like as he says, get some rhythm into it. And this man starts grabbing my hands to just violently move with his violence. And I'm staying at the one of the two, I'm just doing it faster. I'm like, all right, then I think that's... He's like, use your arms. I'm like, oh. And then this man grabs my hand and whips me around. This man spun me. Nah, dog. And he spun me when I was mid-stride. And so as he spun me, I rolled my ankle, right? And so I rolled my ankle, and it doesn't just hurt like I fell from standing up. It hurts a lot more. It's weird. It hurts so much. It hurts like I fell out of the sky. And so as soon as I fall, he sobers up almost immediately. He's like, oh no, young blood. I'm like, don't call me that. Where did you learn that? And then he helps me limp over to my seat at the table where I was eating, and I can feel my ankle swelling immediately. And so I didn't even think about it. I just kicked off my shoe so I could check my foot. And because I was down to the last clothes that I had, because of the timing that the gift was given, I just popped off my shoe, and he saw an L on my left foot. And he didn't say anything, but I saw him see it. And none of the other groomsmen said anything. But for the rest of the reception, they were all very nice to me.
Hey friends, I have some great news for you. So this week, I'm going to be hosting The Daily Show for the very first time. I'm hosting tonight, tomorrow, and Thursday. And this show has meant a lot to me for a long time. I started there as a writer in 2017, and I've loved it ever since. I've loved the people, I've loved the process, and for the first time, I get to sit behind the desk. And if you've ever wondered what the show would look like through my lens, well, this is your chance to watch it. And I just want to say thank you, because this is in no small part because of you, because of this community, because of everything that we're doing on this channel is a lot of what led to this opportunity. And so I appreciate you very, very much. And if you are inclined, if you're in the area, go ahead and watch Comedy Central live or on the Paramount Plus app. There will also be YouTube videos of clips of it dropping as well. But thank you so much. I hope you enjoy seeing me host. I have some amazing guests. I'm excited to bring the show to you in the best way that I can. And I hope you enjoy the video this week. Bye.
Please make it loud for Josh Johnson!
Okay. All right. Look. Okay. So we are in week 2 of there like kind of being files but no files, but like there's kind of like we don't know, but he doesn't know, but he knows, but he doesn't remember, but he wasn't there, but even if he was there, it's not what you think. But like it's a lot going on, right? And so with everything that fell out with Trump last week, now you have people being like, release the Epstein files, release the Epstein files, release the Epstein files, right? And in prison is Ghislaine Maxwell. Now, in case you're not familiar with Ghislaine Maxwell, like one of the central people to this case, she trafficked for Jeffrey Epstein, right? And she is still alive somehow, and in prison, okay? Yeah, so she's still alive in prison, right? And she actually got 20 years for her part in this trafficking. And so now with Trump calling Epstein a hoax, there's been a lot of, how do I put this? There's been a lot of unintelligible takes on if he's saying the entire thing is a hoax or just his involvement is a hoax, or no one can really tell. There's not a lot of like centered messaging on what is supposed to be the narrative here. And because of that, now you got Ghislaine and her lawyers from prison being like, oh, well, if it's a hoax. No, I'm just saying if like nobody got trafficked to anybody, then I'd like to appeal, right? And then there's people that are like, the client list, we need the client list, we need the little black book, we need the client list, why won't they release things? And then you even had Democrats saying in the House, like, we want to release the files, and they put it to a vote, and Republicans voted to block that release. And they voted to block that release, they said, because, oh, it was part of another bill and it would have passed a bunch of stuff we don't want to pass. So then a bipartisan group went out and they were like, now we should vote on this, and it's Epstein stuff only, right? So everyone's like, release the files, right? And then Ghislaine is like, I got the files. I got them in my head. Like, I'll tell you right now, which is such a crazy thing to me to watch. If you've been watching this whole thing take place, Ghislaine got arrested in like 2020. I think she got sentenced in like 2022, and she's been in jail this whole time. Why is she just now saying, I got the It feels like when your boy who like really thought he was gangster finally goes to jail and gets like the first roach in his sandwich, and he's like, I'll tell anything you need me to know, like anybody, if you have any questions, I will answer follow-up questions, just please get me out of here. I think there's rats in the cheese, please. And so you had Trump really stressing this week, stressing hard, going back and forth with people. This man's getting more comfortable cursing out loud and on text. Like, he's crazy. Just like decorum's fully out the window. Like, there wasn't much of it to begin with, but now he's just like, ah! And this is the other thing that trips me up, is that they're throwing everything they can in front of this like Epstein monster, like Pac-Man, right? Let's just throw this while we run away. And they never admit that Trump isn't doing well in any way, ever. And then they came out saying he had chronic venous, I don't really know what that third word is, I'm not gonna lie to you. But basically he got chronic veins or something. I don't know if that means he got extra, or I don't know what it is, but it's affecting, his health a little bit, and his hand looks horrible. His hand looks like he got an ace bandage on it, but like that's his skin, right? And so I saw that and I was like, wow, they must really want this thing to go. Talk about anything else, please. And then just today, Tulsi Gabbard released these Obama Russia files. You know, the files everybody's talking about. You know, the files that just last week were like, when they gonna release those Obama Russia files? Why can't they get the Obama? What is Obama hiding? All right, we want his Russia files. You know, we've been hungry, thirsty for some Obama Russia files. Ooh, I can't wait to. I can taste them. Let me get those Obama Russia files. That's so bad. That's so bad. It means you have nothing. You truly have nothing to throw in the way of this thing, because Obama Russia file, you won. You won in 2016, you won in 2024. I haven't read the Obama Russia files, admittedly. I haven't read them yet. But I have a spoiler alert for you. Trump came out on top. And he over here stressing when he could have just done nothing. eventually, he's in the White House, he's asked about it, and he's like, look, if Pam Bondi finds anything credible, she can release it. That's all he had to say the whole time. He could have avoided this entire thing if he had just said that, look, if the AG finds something credible, she can release it. And then people really don't have much to say because it's like, that's what they want. He says you're going to get it. I don't know if that's true, but like, that's all you have to do. Keep your calm, play it cool. Instead, he was like, why would you, And it's because he felt caught. And the only people who within this week have been as caught as Trump and reacted as badly was that couple at the Coldplay concert. I thought I was shocked when I saw like Trump's Epstein files tweets, right? This thing, the clip is about 14 seconds. I've been watching it for 20 hours. Okay, all right. In case you haven't seen this, it's a Coldplay concert, right? Coldplaying. Coldplay doing their thing, all right? Being colds. Coldplaying particularly hard that night. And they did this thing that's becoming more popular at big concerts, because Coldplay doing like a stadium. And there's a thing that you can do at a public event, like an entertainment event, whether it's sports, whether it's music, whatever, where you can put out a cam into the audience. And I don't know how to describe it, but when you do that, it does make the entire thing, as big as it is, feel more intimate. Because now you're over here enjoying Coldplay, and you see the other people there enjoying Coldplay, and they're just like you. And they're just as excited to be on the screen as you would be to be on the screen. And they're having such a good time, you know? And so you're like, this is amazing. We're all here together enjoying this thing. I genuinely like those cams because it reminds us that we're all doing the same thing, having a good time, you know? And if we're all doing the same thing, having a good time, maybe we're more alike than we think. If we're more alike than we think, then maybe when we leave the basketball game, when we leave the show, whatever, we have less reason to argue. We have less reason to look at each other as like just completely different entities. It's like, you're just like me. You like Coldplay. You know? And I'm not, you know, a big enough act to do like a stadium or anything like that. I don't really have screens at my shows and stuff, but I heard that the CEO of the largest tech firm in Louisville was here tonight, and so I brought a cam out tonight if you want to. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I can't afford that at all. No, but if you didn't see the clip, is basically Coldplay throwing people up on the cam and having little interactions, or like playing a little something just for them, or just commenting on how sweet people look. And they're going, people, and then they go to this couple. It's not just any couple. They go to a couple holding each other Titanic style. And to be fair to her, she didn't have the arms out like Rose. She was holding his arms. And then Chris Martin is like, look at this couple. And I don't know, okay. This is where I wish I knew more about like technology and the brain and stuff like that. Because the same way that there is latency on the internet and there's a delay on a call where sometimes you can hear yourself in someone else's side of the phone call. And you can hear how you spoke, but there's a delay. It's like a second later you hear your own voice, what you just said as you're speaking. So it takes a second. And I don't know, because I've never been in a situation where I've been on a big camera like that, the amount of time it takes your brain to register that that's you that you looking at. Because they're over here, Titanic style. If you've ever seen the film Titanic, and if you're a 90s baby, you know that when Titanic came out initially, home release, it was on VHS. And it's such a long movie, it's such an epic, that there were 2 VHS tapes. If you're young and you don't know what a VHS is, don't tell anybody that. Keep that to yourself and Google it, all right? It makes people feel bad when we have to explain that we used to have to basically bring a projector home inside a hard casing and then put it in a VCR. If you don't know what a VCR is, that's some other letters you don't need to worry about, okay? You're never gonna come in contact with them in your life, but you would put the VHS into the VCR, you would hit play. You understand play, right? You're not too young for play. You would hit play and it would play the thing like it does on demand, but we didn't have on demand yet. Netflix wasn't born yet. We didn't know what streaming was. And Titanic came out and it was such a long movie. I hadn't seen this 2 VHSs. I hadn't seen that since Charlton Heston's 10 Commandments. If you're too young to know what Charlton Heston's 10 Commandments are, it is also a film, but that film is almost as old as the people the film is about, all right? That movie is about Moses, who probably had a VCR, really. Like when you think about how long ago Moses was and when we used VCRs. But Titanic came home with you would add 2 VHS tapes. And you watch the first VHS tape of Titanic and it plays till about half the movie. And then it tells you to enter tape 2. Tape 2, which will be far more depressing. If you were like me and you shopped at a lot of like thrift stores, sometimes when you go to a thrift store, you don't get to get the thing the way it was intended when it was sold. You might go to a thrift store and buy Titanic and think you got all the Titanic in one VHS tape. And then bring Titanic home and watch Titanic, but you only watch tape 1. And so you don't even know that there's a tape 2 until the end of the VHS where it says insert tape 2, and you don't have it. So you're like, all right, I'm just gonna have to settle with what I got, which was a very sweet story about 2 people who met on an epic adventure, I think I'm willing to leave it there. And it's not until years later you find out the horror that is Titanic Part 2. Part 2 where everything going awry. And all I can say is the first 2 seconds that this couple was on the kiss cam looked a lot like Titanic VHS tape 1. And then when they realize that they on the camera, it looks a whole like Titanic VHS tape 2. Honestly, they look like they on the Titanic. When about tape 2 takes place. And so you see them. And this is where things went wrong. Because rather than just playing it cool, than just, chilling, the woman immediately covers her face and whips around. Okay. All right. Look. Look. Don't judge, okay? When I was a kid, there were kids in my neighborhood who went a totally different direction than I did, right? And sometimes I'd hear about them, and you especially hear about them if you stop seeing them around. And I quickly got used to the idea that if I hadn't seen somebody a long time, they probably didn't just move away. They may have been locked up. Something may have happened to them, right? And there was a kid who was nice enough a few blocks down. Sometimes I would walk to work in the morning, and it was a long walk. And I would pass his house, and sometimes he'd be out in front of his house with people. I'd say hi, they'd say hi. We weren't like close or anything. And one day when I was back home from college, I went to this hookah lounge with my friends. And at the hookah lounge were the guys who I used to pass by when I was in high school, working that job, running every day to work. And I asked them where, the fourth was, the dude that was usually with them. And they were like, oh, yeah, no, he doing a little time. And I was like, what happened? And they were like, well, he ran up in this store to rob it. And, he had like, he was pretending to have a gun and everything. And not only did he not have a gun, the store clerk wasn't scared of him. And so he's over here doing one of these. Let's talk about this real quick. Because I've known people who have had people run up on them and they didn't see the gun, but they were sure they had a gun because of the way they moved with it, right? A little bit of weight to it. Maybe it was tucked. Maybe it was in the pocket. But there was just a slight motion that they had. There was just a way that they were behaving where if they didn't have a gun, this is some great acting. But this man, he ran up into the store. Give me everything. Do it now. I'm not messing around. I would hate for this to go off. And so the store clerk kept his cool, and he was like, No. He's like, what do you mean? I am armed. Ready to kill. Oh, you don't think I'll do it? I'm crazy. And a store clerk, apparently, according to their story, told me, I don't think you'll do anything because... And he points up, and he looked up at the corner, and he was on camera without a mask. And so apparently he went, and walked out the store. I understand the immediate reaction to want to cover your face when you realize you're on camera. But don't do it with your fake gun hand. But he got arrested from rolling up in there and even the attempt and everything. And so he did a little time in jail. And I'm just saying, you're on the kiss cam, and immediately something seems awry when you go, oh! And that by itself wouldn't have actually been that bad. No, I'll tell you right now, this is what I firmly believe. I truly believe this from the bottom of my heart. I think that obviously, there's something up when you see yourself on the cam and go, oh, and then you turn around. But, like Chris Martin said, later in the video, maybe shy. Maybe you're shy. And if only one of them had reacted badly, if only one of them had reacted badly, they might not be in this situation. But she went, oh! And then the man just starts to sink. Where did he go? No, for real, where did this dude go? This man didn't just duck under what he thought the camera could cover. This man got caught. She turned around and he went, ooh, But like, where did he go? Like, truly, where was he? He never comes back. Did he open a portal? He might have been in an abyss. This was one of the crazy, because then he's gone and then she's just standing there. And in my head, I'm like, I don't know where their seats are, but it seems like he jumped. I was crying. This man went under everyone, I suppose. Fully disappeared. And then Chris Martin went, either that couple is really shy or they're having an affair. And the internet said, or? No, that's an affair, dog. Tried to be gracious just in case, but no. That was wild, and then we didn't know it yet. But there was another woman off to the side that presumably knows everything that's happening with them. And wow, people find out quick. The internet works quick. Internet was like, I got all night. I'm not at the Coldplay concert. And within hours, people found this dude's name, where he worked. They found her. They found out that they weren't married to each other. This man married, and then, you know, the internet did a thing where, look. I do think it's important that people know the truth about what's happening in their lives. And I can only hope, like genuinely hope, that the people that reached out to that dude's wife did it with at least some tact. But a lot of people reached out to her, commented, "This is where your husband's at. He's at the Coldplay concert." The Coldplay concert, from my research, isn't even that far from where you live, because I already went ahead and doxed him. I just want you to know. And so then people looked him up, and then they looked her up, and early into people looking her up, she had changed her last name on social, apparently. Knocked his name off. And then it looks like she deleted or made private her socials altogether, which I completely understand. And then people started looking into him. And this is the thing about treating people badly. As soon as something blows up like this, anything you ever did comes out. This dude cheating on his wife, and then other people were giving their little testimonies. "Oh, I worked with him. He's actually terrible. He makes toxic work environments. He's incredibly abusive to his employees," saying all this stuff, right? And I don't know if these people actually work with him or not. It's so hard to tell what about this is real versus like people just trying to get in versus people trying to be part of it and stuff. And then I had a moment, genuinely, I had a moment where I was like, what if? Let's entertain for a second. What if this isn't real? I genuinely thought, because you know, some of the kiss cam stunts, some of the things they do at sports games are like completely fake. They'll be like a fake proposal just to like make everybody laugh and maybe go viral, and maybe they'll sell some more like Bruins tickets. And then I even thought to myself, okay, you don't really see this happen in music. So maybe, what if this was Coldplay? What if Coldplay was like, look, this is what we gonna do, all right? We're gonna get the cam up, we're gonna show a bunch of people, we're gonna get it on one couple. They're gonna freak out, Jerry Springer style, all right? One of them gonna duck, he's never gonna come back. He disappears for life. She stands there. The lady next to her, who is supposedly her friend, laughs at their lives crumbling in front of her. It'll go viral. Everybody will be talking about the Coldplay concert. Everybody will be talking about what song we played right before it happened. Genuinely, you have to entertain a lot of things when you're trying to sift through if something's real or not. You have to be skeptical of everything. And I thought about it, and then I saw how Chris Martin moved on after that. And then I saw a wide shot, and I saw that the stadium looked sold out. So I was like, actually, it looks like Coldplay is doing fine. That theory is in the dirt. This looks very real. And then I thought about the company. You know, Andy, his name is Andy. Andy works at a company called Astronomer. I had never heard of Astronomer. I don't think anybody was talking about astronomer 2 days ago. So then for a second I was like, what if? Astronomer, a tech company, hired Coldplay to do a stadium show. Coldplay does the stadium show. They have all their fans there. The fans don't know that Coldplay's getting a little bit of money on the side for what's about to happen, and then they throw the camera on the CEO. They throw the camera on the CEO and another employee. Right? And then they create this whole scandal. Now, all of a sudden, everybody's talking about astronomer. What is astronomer? Oh, it's an AI company. What do? Oh, they help manage workflow. These are conversations nobody was having 2 days ago. The assumption when you're in the news, when there's a scandal with your CEO, is that your stock price could drop. I don't know if they're a public company, but if the stock price is dropping, it seems like a good time to buy. Maybe that's when they buy back their own stock. And then as soon as I was sitting in my room thinking all this, I was like, I think I've been too deep in this Epstein thing. Like, I think that maybe I have a problem. And I just it's really changing how my brain works. And then there's the fallout of this dude, not only is he caught cheating in front of thousands of people, in front of the internet, but also we find out he's a CEO. We're not gonna find much grace there. People aren't really fans of CEOs right now. And then on top of being a CEO, he's a billionaire. You basically made a Venn diagram of the 3 people that people hate the most. And it's a circle with your name in it. Because it is a terrible thing. A terrible thing that happened. And I just think about how that's something that happens now. You know? Our grandparents, our great-great-parents would have never got caught. No, people's grandparents had whole extra families. And as long as you were willing to be a gentleman about it and really take care of both families, they never met. You know, you went on your family vacation with one family beginning of the summer, family vacation with a second family at the end of the summer, because there used to just be more affordability in the US. A lot of people talk about how back in my day, I could buy a house right out of college. And it's yes, and afford an extra family. Don't forget that. I've talked about this before. I've known people growing up who had that thing happen, where the granddad, they have cousins and half brothers and sisters because of what the granddad did back in the day. And he was doing that on a job that doesn't even exist anymore. That's how much things have changed. This man had 2 whole families as a traveling fork salesman. This man would just go up to people's doors and be like, look, eventually in your life you will come across some spaghetti. And when that happens, you'll want to be, he's selling it like life insurance, you're going to want to be ready when that spaghetti is in front of you, all right? You don't want to be sitting here like a fool with a knife and a spoon. You want to be ready with that spaghetti, all right? And how you get ready? My forks. I got the best forks. My forks can do anything. I got fine dining forks. I got regular forks. I got the nickel forks. You know those forks made of nickel they'll never rust because they're always kind of rusty. If you need forks, I can get it right, all right? got all types of forks. I got the 4-prong, I got the 3-prong, I got the, he bad at counting. And then people let him in. He's like, looking at this, was it two bedroom house? How many kids you got? Oh, you got 3 kids in a 2-bedroom house? You're gonna need at least 16 forks. Made his living selling forks. One day, somebody opened the door for this man and he's immediately smitten. Oh, hello. She's like, yes, how can I help you? He's like, oh, I was trying to, I had this briefcase where I was trying to like fork you, like I just want to, I'm trying to give you fork. I mean, I'm trying to sell you forks. I sell forks. My name is John. And then she lets him in. And they get to talking about forks. And then about other things. And he doesn't tell her he's got a wife at home. And they start an affair. An affair where maybe she knows about the wife, maybe she doesn't. But then things grow. They feel like they're in love. They're like, let's get married. He marries her. Now he's got 2 fork families to support. Now he's got to sell forks harder than ever. He's got to go to as many doors as possible because the kids need braces. All of them. No, just he sells as many forks as he can, and then one day, one fateful day, sadly, a Sears opens. He's out of business immediately. If you're young and you don't know what Sears is, it was like a department/everything store where basically it was like Amazon, but you had to go. There was no click. You had to leave the house to go to Amazon, and then you had to go put everything in your cart yourself, and then you had to buy it yourself. It was like working at the factory at Amazon, except you just grabbed what you needed and you left. But then one day Sears opens, he realizes he's ruined. What else is he gonna do? He's only good at selling forks. And so he has to sit his family down. Be like, look, I'll be right back. I'm going to get cigarettes. And then he goes to his other home, his other family, and he's like, sit down, y'all. I have something to tell you. It's important. I have to go get cigarettes. And then he would go off and he'd have his own life, and he would die with a lot of life insurance, and then the 2 families wouldn't meet each other until it was time to collect. And that was the gentlemanly way to cheat in the 30s. All right? Because a CEO of a company dating, openly cheating with, I didn't know this was a real title, with the CPO, which CPO, I found out today, stands for Chief People Officer, which sounds like the most made-up job I've ever heard in my entire life. That job sounds very fake. Chief People Officer sounds like what you say at Thanksgiving when you go home unemployed, knowing that your brother is a doctor and your sister's a lawyer. I'm the chief people officer. Oh, and I'm master of business. That is crazy. I know it's a real job. I know it's a real title and everything, but just, you could have named it something else. To say that you're in the C-suite, just chief people officer, really sounds like it was not on anyone's mind before the name came out of their mouth. It's like, we have to give her a title. What's the title? She's head of HR. No, she was already head of HR. She got promoted. What is she over again? HR and personnel and hiring. It's like, okay, chief people officer? I don't know. No, it was crazy. It was crazy. And now it just recolors everything with that company. Now they're probably having an investigation right now. You know? Makes you take a second look at everything that happened between them, like performance reviews. Apparently, in one of the performance reviews, the CEO said that the CPO, this is what I read, this might not be right, because everybody talking. But apparently the CEO said the CPO had deeply extensive and impressive knowledge. And that's nasty. That's... I know what he's trying to say. That's... no. That is inappropriate, if anything. I hope they take you down just for that. That's unacceptable. You know? You shouldn't do things that you know are wrong. And I think when you get caught, it's also important to know you're caught and to handle it as best as possible. And I think that as far as that kiss cam couple goes, the only way they could have handled that thing worse was if they had held up signs that said there are no Epstein files. Like,
Give it up for Josh Johnson!
before I came here in San Francisco, there was a pirate. No, it gets worse. There was a pirate threatening a tourist from Brazil with a blowtorch, right? Which, as a pirate, you really shouldn't even have, because you're supposed to be on boats, you're supposed to be around a lot of wood, you shouldn't even have a blowtorch. That's not even a useful weapon for you, right? It should have been a sword, it should have been like a flint pistol, something. That would have made sense. If he had a flint pistol and he pulled it on him, even in the streets of San Francisco, I'd be like, he's on theme. But a full-on blowtorch, how, right? And when I tell you that this man was a pirate, I don't just mean that he was dressed like a pirate. I think he was a pirate. Like, I think he didn't seem like land was treating him well, okay? And so now he has a blowtorch, right? And he's cursing out this person who apparently is this tourist from Brazil, which also, if you're a tourist, I'm not saying don't go to San Francisco, but I'm saying if you are an international tourist coming to the United States, especially for the first time, and the first thing that happens when you get here is a pirate, roll up on you with a blowtorch, which in any language is confusing, by the way. Like, you don't need to be speaking English to understand that this is a wild scenario that's happening right now, right? And so, they're over here arguing. Now, the person who really saved the day was someone that worked at a coffee shop that saw what was happening outside, right? And so then they ran up and they were sneaking up behind the pirate, right? Getting real. Yeah, and it was one of those sneak ups where I was like, "Ooh, if he turned around, you cooked." Like if he turned around, because he was quick with it, but he was very smooth with all his movements. But it took him a while to like get close, right? Like he was. You know what it looked like to me? Okay, like when you go to the zoo and something went wrong, and so then one of the zookeepers like trying to get them back in the cage. Or they trying to like let them know that that kid in front of you, that's not food, but they getting close real slow, like they're just like, okay, buddy, all right. It's because you know what it is? You can tell the level of danger somebody knows they're in as they approach it by the hip movement. Because he wasn't just walking up like he really like was pivoting as he was getting in. He was like, all right. Okay, all right. It feels like if you use hips only to move forward, nobody will hear you. It's like almost a universal thing when people try to sneak up, That's why you don't see, you like, that's not how your grandparents sneak up or whatever. Because if they tried it, like if your grandma tried to sneak up behind you real good and everything, you just be hearing. So she's like, I'm gonna have to lean, right? But anyway, this dude is like sneaking up behind him, getting real close, and in an instant, snatches the blowtorch and runs off, right? So now we've sort of neutralized the main threat. But the pirate was like, you think I need that blowtorch? I'm a pirate in San Francisco. On the streets in 2024, I don't need weapons. My presence alone is a threat. And so then somebody's filming the whole thing, which normally I'm like, why do people do this? Why do people film instead of help? You know what I mean? Like, why do people just from afar and then they're filming and this is another person who could have been helping that because that guy's sneaking up by himself. He's just, you know what I mean? But then, as someone who watches all the videos, I do get it. Like, I do. You want to criticize it, but if it wasn't for this guy filming, I wouldn't know this was happening. This didn't make the news. It's just regular San Francisco 5 p.m., right? So then, sneaking up, snatches the blowtorch, runs off, right? Now, as he's running off, now this was almost cinematic. You couldn't have planned this better. Because as the coffee shop worker who was running off with the blowtorch passes the camera, like right as his head passes the camera, you see that the pirate had already started punching, right? So it was just boom like that, right? Now this guy tries to roll with it, and he had good form, especially for a tourist that is being approached by a pirate. I would have just been hit. I would have just been like I don't think I would have moved. Like this dude really rolled with the punch. Now this is when the two nudists come into the picture, right? Because there were some nudists that were there anyway. They were going to be naked no matter what. So when the two nudists come up, they're like, this is what we do. We didn't get, because a part of you, if you don't know anything about the culture, you thinking like, oh, they see a pirate, they're like, it must be safe to get naked. They just let you do whatever you want. So they were naked anyway, right? So then one of the nudists sees what just happened, sees that this tourist has been assaulted by this pirate. So then he run up and come in with it was really beautiful sequence, because basically the pirate was like, bow, right? And then the nudist comes up and it's like, bow. And then when the nudist swings, okay, so the nudist hit so hard that he did lose his footing, right? So then him and the pirate both fall. And now this is the first point in time where the pirate looks like somebody in this scenario is more uncomfortable than me, right? Like because you see, okay, so the pirate punches that dude and he's clearly like having his own journey, right? But what snaps him back to reality in a moment's time is not only being hit by the nudist, but when they both fall, you can see the pirate. Okay, so the pirate his back is to the camera and you can't really hear him, but you can hear this little like, and then him and the nudist are getting up. Now, if you think, I try to put myself in the mindset of everybody involved in the video, right? Because there's a lot going on, you know? We already got this hero who snatched the blowtorch. Now, this person, we don't know how long they've lived in San Francisco. We don't know how long they worked at the cop shop. We don't know how long they've known this pirate, right? But the way they sprung into action, you could tell it was like, I have to do something, right? They took it upon themselves. Now, as the tourist, I've already mentioned, you being accosted by this pirate, that's weird enough to make a person freeze, right? But for a second, I want all of us to put ourselves in the mind of the pirate, all right? Because the pirate, we don't know exactly what was going through this individual's mind, but we know it was something to do with maybe this tourist, maybe he thinks this tourist stole some of his booty, maybe he thinks maybe the tourist is standing on the X that he's trying to dig right now. We don't know what's going through his mind, okay? All we know is that he feels emboldened enough and passionate enough to start swinging. And as soon as he starts swinging, he gets a right cross from out of nowhere. He doesn't know anybody else is in this situation with him except this guy. And so then he gets his right cross, so he fall, and the person that hit him also fall. And then when he looks forward, he sees a naked man. So you can see, even on the pirate, like, oh, I didn't sign up for this. This is too much. Wouldn't that be funny if the pirate was like, I'm a Christian, I don't really... But the pirate is also like getting up and everything. Now, the nudist was fast. So the nudist got up before the pirate really knew what happened, because you could tell the pirate calibrating. Like, when did he get naked? Was he always naked behind me? You could tell the pirate got other stuff on his mind. So he tried to get up, but he's also like, when did this guy... And so then the nudist gets up, and the nudist tries to get another lick in before the pirate can get up, because to be fair to everybody involved, you don't know how quick and strong this pirate is, right? Like, is this a PCP pirate, or is this a meth pirate, or is this a crack pirate? We don't know. There are categories, and we don't know which one he falls into. You got your first lucky shot on him, and that didn't knock him out, so now you're in trouble, right? So the nudist gets up quick, and when the nudist, okay, he goes to do this thing that you really only see happen in like bus fights, where the pirate's still on the ground and he tries to do a little like, wow, like he tries to do like an uppercut as he's getting up, and I think he misses. He either missed or it didn't faze the pirate at all. He probably got hit and was still like, where did this guy come from? Because also the nudists were white. And so it's on top of seeing a naked man, you seeing shades of pink coming at you. Because you got to remember, this nudist ready to fight. So you're not in a regular fight with another dude. Like, also, by the way, I'm pretty sure if I remember the video correctly, the tourist has not left, but he has taken He's taking the position of an audience member. He's just like, man, he's crazy. And so then the pirate tries to get that extra lick in, and I think he missed and everything. And then the pirate, they have a couple more little scuffles because you can tell that the pirate trying to like fight, but he's not trying to get too close. Which is, look, as far as a tactic, because there's a lot that people don't know about martial arts. There's a lot people don't know about self-defense. And it didn't occur to me until I saw that video that man to man, for real, like if you ever in a fight and you don't really want to fight and you know your opponent doesn't have a gun, right? It's just man on man fisticuffs, right? It would help to get naked. I think the level to which somebody want to fight you goes down the more naked you get. You know what I mean? Like if we have, like you bigger than me, if we have problems right now and you coming at me, but I'm just, like that switches things up for you. Cause now you like, what am I gonna punch? Like, am I gonna, cause even if you win and you don't really want to, even if you punching, you just don't really want the risk of touching balls like that. Like if you, because let's say we going head body, but then I go high and you go low, and now all of a sudden my whole knuckles get grazed. But you see, y'all groaning, but I'm right. You don't want to fight now. Next time somebody try you in the street, fellas, just start. Because dudes already take their shirt off. The problem is they not stopping. That's the problem. They're not stopping the whole fight by just taking the rest off. Because the shirt is like, you're not going to be that encumbered by the shirt, right? Might as well drop the pants. Yeah. Even take the shoes off. Really confuse them, right? Yeah. And so you can tell that the pirate really doesn't want to like fully get in there. And so the whole thing starts to just fall apart. And the whole time I was thinking like, wow. I was trying, once again, put myself in the mindset of everybody involved. Like we went through what the tourist must have been thinking, what the pirate must have been thinking. Even the nudist. Nudist had to have something going on in his head to be like, I have to help. This guy is a blowtorch. And even though somebody just took it from, he's clearly trying to attack this person. He just attacked this person. I need to do something, right? I should call somebody. But you don't have any pockets. I wonder if he reached for it too, like we need to get the police. I guess it's me then. Then he ran in like a Superman with his balls out, right? But what I really can't shake is what must have been going on in that second nudist mind. Because both nudists, they were together, by the way. I don't want you to think in the story there was one nudist and then another nudist. They knew each other, right? Maybe they were just walking, enjoying a day, sunning. And then they see all this yelling going on. What was that? What could be happening? And then they see this guy has a blowtorch to his side. They're like, oh, I hope he doesn't intend to use it. And then, you know, they see this guy strike, and then, you know, first nudist just jumps in, starts swinging. Doesn't really have his footing right, doesn't really have his hands ready, but he's trying. That second nudist must have been like, damn, I think they got it. Like, I think they good, you know what I mean? I do like how, I'm not saying they waited in a way that, I don't mean this person was being courageous for stepping in, but I do understand the self-preservation that takes place where you wait to jump in till that blowtorch is gone, because I'm naked. That blowtorch might burn that tourist, but it would change my life. Yeah. Oh, I also want to say real quick, thank y'all so much for coming to the show. Thank y'all for being here. Thank you for an amazing weekend and everything. You know, I don't know, you know, when y'all might have seen me for the first time or anything, or you know, what maybe video it was. I've been posting to YouTube for like a year now, and I started it a year ago where I was just like, I was like just sharing like my thoughts on things, sharing my jokes, feelings on stuff, and I appreciate it because it really, I don't know, that was the thing that really turned everything around, and I got to in some ways like meet you, and now I'm getting to meet you for real, and I appreciate this opportunity because it's like, I don't know when you may have seen your first video or if you even know who I am. You might be like, she brought me, like this. That's also very fair. I will not be offended at all, right? But I appreciate you, for real. I appreciate you taking a chance on me and coming here to have a good time and letting me talk to you and everything. I've done lots of shows that were not. I've done shows where they didn't know I was coming, right? I've done shows where they booked me to do the show, and then I show up, and they're like, "Oh, we also gonna play the Blackhawks game behind you." And I'm like, "Oh, does anybody want a show?" He's like, "No, it's a surprise." Don't surprise. So I've definitely done shows that were, you know, on the rough side because people weren't there to hear what I was gonna say, and I get it. I do get it. That's why I don't take anything lightly, that I get to be here in front of you. And everything that I say, I'm not always going to be perfect, but I try to be thoughtful about what I'm saying, you know. And I think sometimes when you bring something up, because you do comedy, people think whatever you bring up, you're making light of to trash it, or you're making. That's why sometimes people get uncomfortable when you talk about anything and you're a comic. They're like, oh, this person's going to be. It's going to be shitty, right? They're going to be shitty about a thing that I care about. And just because I'm talking about something doesn't mean I'm belittling it, right? Like there's a lot of stuff that I take very seriously, but I still feel like I need to talk about because conversation is important, you know? And, oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks. We'll see. It's been a like scary day, you know? It has. It's like, I mean, I hope you're not finding out from me. But someone at a rally, someone. Don't do that. I'm just telling you what happened. At a rally, someone shot at Trump while he was doing his rally. And I still don't know. There's so much we don't know. But some people say it was a bullet and some people say it was glass. But either way, he got a cut over his ear and the person that was behind him got shot and they died. Right? And they've apparently shot the suspected gunman and everything, and it's just it's one of the wildest days in a long time because there are days that are like checkpoints throughout American history. Like we had a birth as a country, and then you know you can set the checkpoints wherever you want, but there are big ones. There are big ones like the country starts, and then there's a civil war later, right? And the Civil War is a turning point for the country forever. You know what I mean? There are people that even now say like we're more divided than ever. And I like to remind them that we did have a civil war. You know what I mean? Like then you need to read a history book. Then ever. ever? No, not ever. You know? So you have something like the turning point that happens due to a civil war, which even now, even to this day, hundreds of years, there are people that are hundreds of years removed from the people leading up to the civil war that were in their family, that they still have differing opinions on like the Civil War, why it happened, how it went down, what should have happened, right? And then you have Lincoln's assassination. That's another turning point for the country forever, right? Because once things are put on the table with time, they're never taken off. There's always something that could happen, you know? And then you fast forward more, and we've had turning points. We've had really scary days. And people can belittle it as much as they want or whatever, but we've had times where we're like, oh, are we a country anymore? And so you see those moments like that, right? And there are people who are even now, they're afraid, right? They're afraid that there's going to be another version of the Civil War, right? Because the people that hate people so much throughout this country for whatever political affiliation for whatever they say. This is the thing about being online as well. When you go around, you know, I go everywhere. I try to go everywhere, and I'm trying to meet people everywhere. And when I meet these people, almost all the people, and some of them are having a bad day, some of them have had a past, whatever, but most people, pretty pleasant, right? It's easy to forget that online. Because online, people have the safety to be a troll, and there's also bots. So you could go through your life and bump into people all day and have nothing but beautiful experiences. But then you get online and you post a picture of yourself because you're happy about, you know, maybe something that you bought and you look good in. And there's all the comments under it. Why you wearing that skirt, bitch? It's like that is happening in real life, but that is not real life. Right? The people that you meet in person are real life. The people that you meet every day, that's real life, right? So I'm not saying it's real life as in it doesn't matter. I'm specifically saying that like the grace that you give in person is that's our better nature. That's what we would hopefully have all the time. It's being online that makes people monsters to you before you meet them. You look at those pinpoints, and there are people that are worried about us falling into the trap of another civil war, like so much hate, right? And I personally don't think that's going to happen. I'm not just hopeful. I actually don't think that's going to happen because if I'm being honest with everyone in here, we don't have the grit. I'm not saying that there aren't people with guns. I'm not saying that people have murderous intentions for their fellow Americans. I'm saying that as a country, we would get tired too fast. We would. Like it would be day 8 and there'd be people in America wake up on whatever side you on being like, again? No, I'm not saying that violence is impossible, and I pray it doesn't happen. I pray even more now that it doesn't happen than I did before, but I think that it's not going to split up the way that it did. You got to remember, the country was full of colonies, and travel was difficult. So when the country split and we had our full-on civil war, it was a different time truly, right? And now you have family that lives here, you have family that lives over there, you have family who's moving. Because we're too interconnected now in a way that I think is good, in a way that actually forms a union, right? We're quilted together now. So no matter how you split us up, whether it's north and south, east and west, eventually, whatever side of the war you're on, eventually someone would be like, I just want a good taco. I believe what I believe in, whatever, but I cannot have another bagel. I am stopped up. For my health, I can't do it. And we don't know anything yet. Like we really don't. Everyone's talking, right? It just happened. So everybody is talking, Happened like 6 hours ago, and everybody's talking, everybody's speculating. There's already the conspiracy theories. There's already like some vitriol started. We don't know, and we can't act like we know just because we feel a lot, right? Because this is the other thing. You talk about pinpoints in time. You talk about checkpoints. Civil War then leads to Lincoln's assassination. That's another checkpoint that we cannot come back from, because once things are on the table, they're on the table for the rest of time. That's why you have to be careful what you say and what you do, And so then you fast forward even more. It makes me think about the assassination attempt on Reagan. Because Reagan still is one of those figures that's like either beloved or absolutely despised, right? The policies they put forward and the aftermath afterward, people feel how they feel about it, right? But when you think about that person that shot Reagan, right? We were in a different time of division back then. It was still pretty, relatively civil, relatively ideal by today's standards, right? But let's say we had lost our minds then and been like, oh, this is a plot. This is an inside job. This is a conspiracy. Let's say we lost our minds when Reagan got shot, and then you actually talk to the shooter, and then you find out why he did. He's like, oh, I just wanted Jodie Foster to like me. Imagine that, though. Imagine if we had lost our minds. Imagine if we had had some sort of civil war, some sort of backlash, some sort of retribution over here, all for somebody who's like, did Jodie Foster see it, or just trying to find out what Jodie doing? That's my thing. That's my sincere hope, right? I'm hopeful, and I hope you know that I pray for all of you. I pray for all of us, like I do. And even if you don't subscribe to whatever metaphysical subscription you hold, right? Because at the end of the day, we really are all Americans. I know it doesn't feel that way. But every one of us, just by the reaction that y'all had when I told you that somebody died, you know that we all still have our humanity. We don't want to see anything bad actually happen to anybody, because you don't know that person. You don't know anything about the person that died today, but you know that they were an American, and you know they were a human being, right? And so I think that what I've decided when it happened, and I can only speak for me, I'm not going to tell you what to do. No matter anyone listening to me, you can do what you want. But when I saw it happen, I decided in that moment that this right here is where I'm going to plant my feet, right? I'm not going to let this make me radical one way or the other. I'm not going to lose my mind, because we don't know. And two, the humanity we show to each other just in passing, that's really important. And honestly, all this is going to be funny again in a minute. I haven't forgotten. Like, I didn't forget. Like, I wasn't like, let me get him with the yuck yucks, now lock the door. Like, I just hope, like, my sincere hope is that this can be the thing that, like, scares us straight. You know what I mean? Like, this can be the thing. It's like, oh, actually, you know what? I don't actually want any violence. I don't want anything bad to happen. You know what I mean? Because they're snowballs, right? So I just, I think about that, and I think about, if you're not familiar with the show Scared Straight, basically what they do is they take kids, right? Then kids who are pretty bad, right? They're like bad kids, and then and the kids are very hard to root for, because by the beginning of the episode, they're always like, I punched my grandma in her face, right? And then And then they take them to jail, and they spend a weekend at jail, because it really just takes a weekend. They spend a weekend at jail with the inmates, and then they try to do what they do at home with the inmates. Like, I punched my grandma in the face, and then one of the inmates is like, kiss me. And it's just, it changes, right? It changes the vibe. And I'm not saying it works for every kid, by the way. I'm not saying that this is a foolproof thing. We can talk about child psychology however you want, but I'm saying for the kids that it does work for, it was actually something bad happening that woke them up, right? It wasn't just me coming to my senses one day. It was like, this is rock bottom. You know? You don't just wait for rock bottom. You don't just try to fall until you find it. You can decide it for yourself. This feels like granite. I think I'll stop here, right? But I also know that, like, sometimes if you don't say anything, if a thing goes unsaid, people think it goes unthought, right? And if you don't reach out to people don't know you care about them. I care truly. And people are going to feel the way they feel about me or feel about me talking about this, but I care about every single American in a serious way. We're a country, and we're a country of people that are different. We're a family of people that sometimes hate each other. That's what family does most of the time. I went and got a dentist through unconventional means. Basically, my dentist was handing out coupons. You know the little door knocker coupons that they put on the doorknob? Okay, so my dentist had been putting those on the doors in my neighborhood, and so I came home one day and I grabbed it and came inside. It was that and 2 pizza coupons, and I was reading it. I really don't even remember what the deals were, but this is when everybody was trying to make everything a coupon, like in 2013, 14, when everybody was like, Groupon was big and all this stuff like that. Like, I don't remember what the deals were, but it was like 2 teeth, get 1 free. Whatever it was, I don't remember. All I remember is there was a teeth cleaning on there, and so I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go get my teeth cleaned at my new dentist, because if this dentist has coupons, this is the dentist for me. I have no money. And I didn't have like dental or anything, so I was like, I need any break I can get. Now, I went there, and the dental assistant was very professional. She was very good, and that's my thing, is that any professional of any type, you want them to be confident in their competence, right? Like, you want that's why you lean on them, because they look like they know what they're doing, and they have the confidence in somebody that knows what they're doing, so you just leave it to them, right? If there's any point where you have to question that, it ruins the whole like, I've been on the bus before where the bus driver looked lost. And I'm sitting, I'm like, why is he checking his phone? Like, but I'm in this dentist office. The dental assistant is amazing, and she's, very quick, and she's asking me the questions. They even do the x-ray of my teeth where they put the thing in their mouth. They're like, doo, 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 doo. That's your teeth, right? Like, she did all that stuff. And then my dentist comes in. And my dentist, my new dentist, walks in. And he is very clearly missing a tooth. And it's not like a wide smile, back of the mouth chewing tooth. This is one of the stars of the show. This is one of the teeth that when you smile goes like, ba-da, like it's. And so he missed, I don't know how to describe this, but he missing the tooth hard. Like, he might as well be missing 2 teeth the way he missing this tooth, because it's not a center tooth, but it's it's one of those teeth where because it's missing, I don't know how big it should be, so it feel like he missing the whole front row. Like it's very distracting, right? And so then he come in, and I don't know if it was recent that he lost his tooth or something, but the space in relation to his tongue is causing some slippage, and it's making him lisp, right? And so he walks in and he's like, "Hi, how are you? Have a seat." Because I stood up to shake his hand and everything. He's like, "Yeah, have a seat." And I'm like, and then this dude is like, so he's sitting next to me, right? And he's talking and he's asking me all the questions. And then it's all like, "How much do you floss?" And this, so I was getting upset in the chair because, you know, he's asking me, "How much do you floss?" And I'm like, "Oh, I floss every day." He's like, "Are you sore?" And I'm like, I got so upset. I didn't say this out loud. I said it in my head, but I was like, okay, but which one of us is missing? You know what I mean? Like, how dare you question what I'm doing over here when I'm working with a full set? You know what I mean? Like that. That's why. Are you sore? Like, I was like, that's unacceptable. Because he was getting snippy with it, which I didn't like. That's attitude, right? And so then I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. And then I don't like how he's going about it, because you know how the dentist, well, sometimes the dental assistant will do it, but sometimes the dentist specifically will go through with the floss again and go over the dental assistant's work, if they didn't feel like they did it right. And then he was grabbing all the tools, you know, like the little sharp, little poke, the tools of the devil, right? He was grabbing all of them, and he was in my mouth and everything. And I don't know how to describe this, but I don't like he being rough with my mouth. You know what I mean? And he being rough in a way that's like, you know, like when you driving and somebody got a beat up car, so they driving reckless because they don't care. They don't care anymore what happens to their car. So they might as well bust up your car because their car's already doomed, right? And you'll see it'll be like a busted tail light and just no bumper at all, and they taking some real risks without turning lights on, right? They won't have that blinker on at all. They just be picking whatever lane they want because they're like, "Hit me, I dare you," right? Hit me. You might knock something back right. You'll be doing me a favor. Go ahead and hit me, okay? And so that's how he's being in my mouth, because he's really like going hard, and then he gets to the tooth on me that he missing, and he really give it up. And I'm like, that's not okay, you know? Just because it's over for you doesn't mean, like I still have a future, you know what I mean? Like, how dare you do that? And so then, you know, I don't know if it's because I'm young and I'm just like not really thinking, or because I'm awkward in a lot of social situations anyway, but finally I was just like, so what happened? And then this man had the nerve to go, "What, this?" What else could I mean, sir? No, there's something on your lip. No. He's like, "Oh, this?" I was like, "Yeah." And then he takes the tools out, you know, the little hose that they have in your mouth, and just sucking up all. Puts that to the side, puts the tools down, puts his hands on his knees, and goes. Got sullen, right? I felt bad for asking. He got really quiet and sullen. He was like, "I hoped you wouldn't notice." Sir, you came in here teeth first. Smiling in my face, and you thought I wouldn't notice. one of the main teeth.
Rude.
I can't stress this enough. Like, it was one of the teeth that if he committed a crime, that would be how they got him. Like, that's... Do you know what I mean? Like if he stole something tonight, they'd be like, it was this one that was... You know what I mean? Didn't even have a gold tooth in there. Didn't even have something to be like, oh, I'm a different type of dentist, right? It didn't... Just avoid. And it was big enough I could see through, like I could see his throat. Like it was... And he got sullen and he was like, it's actually recent. I was out with some friends. And this is my thing. Okay, like, I know he telling me the story because it wasn't even my business, so he didn't have to tell me anything. So I know he's doing me a favor by telling me the story, but I swear to you, this man hit every S possible in this story. He didn't avoid any of them. I was like, what are you doing right now? Bro, every single S? That's crazy. So he's like, so I was at Buffalo Wild Wings. I was out with some friends, and we were watching the sports on the little sports center they have with all the TVs and everything. There was one of my friends that I hadn't seen in a very long time from college. It was very serendipitous, and I was like, that... Don't do that. You didn't need that one at all. That was... You could have said fortunate. And so then, you know, we're sitting there, and you know, I was having a good old time. I was sucking the sauce off my fingers and everything. And then there were some guys a few booths away that I would start jawing at one of my friends. I guess they knew him from his past or something. And so then they would start talking, you know, over at us. And so then, you know, we went over there and then, you know, they were out here talking shit. And it's like truly some of the most Chicago shit I've ever heard in my life, because he's like out here talking shit, and then, you know, I went ahead and I popped one in their mouth, and then he popped me right back, and I swallowed, so that's why I'm missing the tooth, and I heard that and I was like, oh, is that all? Okay, go ahead. Go back to work. Yeah. You a good dentist. You was not a good fighter. I get you. Okay. Yeah. Maybe next time, let them talk, you know? How do you celebrate Black History Month, sir? You come to see comedy shows. Good call. You know, I've heard that a lot of white people celebrate Black History Month by giving the nearest black guy $20. If that ain't the slickest shit I've ever seen in my life. Y'all can't see him. He went... I'll do it with just a dab right there. Ah, gotcha.
My name is Josh Johnson, and I'm originally from Louisiana. Growing up in Louisiana, it was like being in a bathtub, and you can't get out, and the water is dirty, and it's racist.
Clap your hands, everybody, for Josh Johnson!
I don't know if you can tell by looking at me, but I was fired from being in a gang. They kicked me out because I was too positive. They were like, why you always smiling, dog? I'm like, I mean, none of us are dead or in jail, and we're a gang. They also kicked me out because I apologized too much. Our drive-by sounded like...
Sorry.
Like, that's... After a while, I saw their point, you know? And even when it came down to it, and they were kicking me out, and I was like, I just want to hang out with my friends, and you guys are my friends, and now I don't know what I'm gonna do. Why do I have to leave? And they were like, bro, you giggle. You just like a bad influence, dog. You know what I mean? Like, you over here bringing in puppies and lemonade and like... So I'm out. I didn't know that I looked busted today until a homeless man didn't bother asking me for change. And he asked everyone, all right? He was like, hey, brother, hey, brother, hey, brother, hey, brother. Hey, brother, hey, brother, hey, brother. Oh, it hurt my soul. I took an Uber to get here, and I've come to a decision. We should not be able to see the car in the app on the way to pick us up. It's a bad idea. You are only watching mistakes. You are just watching like, oh yeah, 6 rights and you'll be here. That's perfect. That is wonderful. That's just what I wanted, you know? No, take another right. That makes sense. No, you should pass me. You're right, you know? Sometimes the car will disappear and then reappear in a place that is still not here. You know what I mean? And you're like, wow, teleportation. I had no idea we had reached this level of technology. That's amazing. Sometimes the car will just start spinning. And it'll spin further away from you. And you're like, is he drunk? Should I get in the car, you know? It's terrible, and it's disrespectful to the driver, you know? Because it's only their job to drive you, not to look cool on the way to pick you up. It's not their job to drift down the street and land in front of you perfectly. Pop the car door open like Ryan Gosling. It's just their job to drive you. They're not at work yet, and you're watching them. Imagine if you had that. Imagine if your boss had you on a screen before you got to work. It's like, okay, this man know he late and he going to Starbucks. All right. Okay, we're gonna have to have a discussion.
I'm into comic books a lot. It started out when I was young. I couldn't afford the good comics, so I would get these sort of like discontinued publications that were like a quarter. Because of that, I never knew what other kids were talking about. Then I read Spider-Man. I was like, this is way better. Oh my gosh, I wish I had grown up with even a little bit of money, and then I would have just bought the $1.25 comic and known what my friends were talking about.
I don't know if you saw this story. There's a group of Girl Scouts that were outside of a dispensary in Chicago selling Girl Scout cookies. And what hustlers, you know? Like, we've come full circle as a society, because it used to be that kids would walk out of a store and an adult was trying to sell them weed. Now adults are walking out of dispensaries and there's kids like, hey. Hey. I got that good shit. You hungry? Everybody get hungry. You don't want none of this? I got that Thin Man. I got that samosa. I got that praline. I got that mango cream. I got that shortbread.
I used to think a lot about who I wanted to be when I grew up, like what I wanted to be, everything, you know? And I think I finally decided, when I grow up, I want to be
the dude that I am on the first date. That would be amazing. If I could be that dude for real, that is... He is somebody to aspire to, you know what I mean? That dude Reed. He pulled chairs out for people. I don't even pull out the chair for myself. I actually stick my leg under the table and drag the chair out like an animal and then sit down in it. And he's got money. You know what I mean? Like, my second date's just... We going through samples at Whole Foods while we learn about each other.
The advice that I wish I got when I first started was to quit. I stuck with comedy because even though a bomb is this scary thing that no comic wants to experience, I don't do that well in individual conversations. And so a comedy show is just bombing with everyone at one time, you know?
I haven't always lived here. I actually moved to New York from Chicago. Me too. And I quickly realized how proud New Yorkers are of their time. What I mean by that is how, like, long they've lived here. You know what I mean? Like people be like, I'm a real New Yorker, dog. I've been here 8 years. And then somebody in the back that nobody was talking to goes, nah, man, it doesn't start till 10. Like, what are you talking about? Your New York time shouldn't be measured by calendar year. It should be measured by your experiences, you know? Like, if we all moved to New York tonight, and we got off the plane and we got on the train, and then we got off the train as the train doors open, a homeless man coughs in your mouth, you've been here 2 years. That's 2 full years right there. I was walking down Times Square, which was my mistake, you know what I mean? And I was walking down the street, I saw this young woman, clearly not from New York, because she was smiling very wide. She was genuinely happy. And you also could tell that she wasn't from here because she was looking up at, like, the screens and the buildings and everything, and she was just blown away because she had seen this in movies, and it's here now in front of her. This is insane, you know? And so then she opened her mouth to say, wow. Everyone who laughed is from New York. She opened her mouth to say wow because she was full of joy and hope and life. And as soon as she opened her mouth to say wow, a bag flew in her mouth. And it's like, yeah, that's what happens here, all right? Were you happy? New York noticed, and it's in a dirty Walgreens bag to fly halfway in your head. Close your mouth and tuck your chin like an adult. I have to take the train everywhere, and it's exhausting. I know that everyone doesn't have this problem, but I'm like, I don't know, I'm just pressed up against people the entire ride, just like mushed in between people. I'm surprised no one is in me. I'm pressed up against so many people so hard. And I'm not a big man, so if I get pressed up against 2 big men, it's not uncommon for my feet to leave the ground. So now I'm just dangling in between 2 grown men as the train goes. And then they go to get off, I'm like, sir, please don't do this. I got 3 more stops, please. Like, it's a terrible feeling. I was on the train with one of those ladies that had those baby backpacks. You know what I'm talking about? Where the baby is the backpack? Like, she don't want to look at her kid. Like, the baby hanging in the other direction, you know? In some sort of, like, suspended timeout. Baby could be gone for all she knows. It could be a sack of potatoes. Traded for a baby, and she'd still just keep walking, you know what I mean? So it was just me and the baby pressed up against each other. Nose to nose like this, just mushing heads. And this is a baby. That's a soft head. I should not be mushing my grown skull against this baby, you know? But I'm mushing up against the baby, and I look at the baby, and the baby looks at me, and he's like, I don't know. I don't know what you want me to do. I'm a baby. My feet don't touch the ground either.
And then the train sped up, and as it sped up, it like shook a little bit, and the baby, I don't know what age of baby this baby was, but he definitely wasn't like hold his own head up age. Like he was out here. So then the train sped up and the baby went weightless, and for a split second his little foot went in my mouth, right? And I didn't close my mouth, I didn't suck on his foot, but still, it was a baby foot in the dirty New York air, you know what I mean? And so I'm choking, and as I'm choking, because there's no shoe, but I mean, I'm choking, and I look at the baby, and the baby looks at me, he's like, I don't know what you mean.